States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Heavenly Father, please guide us in making the decisions that you would support your will. Amen. I don't know why every time I choke. You did fine.
Guarantee you nobody's gonna grade you.
What?
Nobody's gonna grade you on it.
Well, that's good, because I think I would have gotten a C- on that one. All right. Thank you, everyone, for attending our special meeting. Any public comments? Clinton, is there anything you'd like to say? For our special guest?
Sounds like you're getting sick.
I know, I think I spent too much time with Mary Ann recently.
Hey, Carol was sick.
Yes, you were.
I was.
It's been all around me, honestly. But I feel fine, it's just my voice.
Then you didn't get it from me.
No, you're right, because you were and you were deathly sick.
I was, but I did try to stay away from, I didn't come to that meeting.
Yeah, it's just my voice, thank goodness. All right, so our first order of business is consideration of the sewer expansion ordinance. So this is the ordinance that Bose McKinney Evans has guided us with to begin the establishment of a sewer territory. You guys had any chance to look at that? Since I was the last one here, I didn't know if you guys had a chance to take a peek at it. So this is the first step. Once we pass this, then Bose McKinney will file all the paperwork with the IURC to begin the process.
I move that we accept the plan as presented.
Second.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, so Mr. Unger said that if we were unanimous, even without Lauren here, that we could do the special circumstance and go ahead if it was unanimous and send it as is with one reading instead of two if we were all unanimous.
Okay.
So if I can get a motion
I'll
to
make that motion.
I'll second.
suspend the rules and
Yeah, we will, since it was a unanimous vote, I make a motion to suspend the rules and go ahead with the, forward with just the first reading.
And I'll second.
all right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. All right, some good news for Marshall Wright. All of the paperwork is completed and they were able to get the resolution in today for our special meeting. Yes, sir.
I'm glad we did, but we have an issue right now as far as the police cars going on right now.
Yeah, let's finish this topic and we can talk
Okay,
about that.
all
Does
right.
that sound all right?
Okay.
So basically, we need to pass this resolution to sign the lease for the Tahoe that we already voted to purchase.
Yeah, I move that we accept it as presented. I've already read through it.
I read through it too.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, motion carries 4-0. And then discussion on the other police vehicle was going to be the other, one of the Explorers. What year Explorer?
2016.
The 2016 Explorer had the water.
Water pump.
Water pump, yeah.
Water pump and timing chain. The estimate to repair it is just under $2,700, which it is over there getting repaired. Regardless, we have to repair it, whether we decide to do something with it or we decide to sell it or trade it or keep it. It's over there getting fixed. The $2,700 is about half of our entire maintenance budget for the whole year.
Mm-hmm.
We under budgeted last year and we overspent last year. We're already on track to overspend on maintenance this year, just because of just this one vehicle that just went down. I know that money is the issue of finding money. I don't know if the sewer thing coming in $120,000 under budget, which was the money was appropriated for, but it came in less. If that money,
Community crossings.
if any of that money can be reappropriated to potentially do another one and then sell off this one once we get it back, since it's the higher of the two, and potentially get,
I'm under the understanding, first of all, that the community crossings grant, if we don't use the money as it was written, that it has to go back. Is that not correct?
Yeah, I think that is the issue with that. It has to go back. That's what we did. We had one year when we didn't even use it. We had to send the whole thing back. So we do
was that
have,
money that was community crossings money, or was that the money that the town had to set aside as their portion that they would get?
well, we have to ensure, here's the thing with that, and I know it's I'm not trying to beat around the bush on this.
Trying to understand it.
Yeah, but we have to let them know that we have that kind of, we have those funds as well too, and we have those set aside so we can go ahead and finish our project. And as, you know, because the match goes, what was it, 25 to 75?
Yeah. 75.
But we have to assure them that, yes, we have those funds. Now, when I asked Ricky last time, I don't know if that has changed. It might have, I don't know, but if it has, I'd be
No,
surprised.
it's still 75, 25. I remember Lou saying that the other.
No, but I'm saying we had to ensure them as well too, that we had the money, or we had the 25%. So for whatever they give us, we have to have that in place, I understand. Okay, but still, when we're in the position where you have a car, and the other one has the engine out, and then this one breaks down, then we don't have a police force. So we do have an issue there.
Well, we're gonna have the car back this week.
But we have 2 officers on duty tomorrow, and we also have.
We have 2
officers.
vehicles.
We only have one.
We have we have the other Explorer and we have his.
Well, okay, but when he's not here, we still have what, tomorrow night? Don't we still have 2 on duty tomorrow night?
There's also, I'm in tomorrow. I've got to be training part of the day. There's an officer in at 10 o'clock. He will work until.
Yeah.
I work until 4. He'll work until Cole gets here at 4.
Yeah.
Because that's, or they'll both ride in the same car, because that's always happens in one car.
Is it Nipper with him?
No, it'll be Asbury tomorrow.
Okay, and Nipper's, I guess she's still with us, isn't she?
That Sue was driving when it went down. right?
Okay, I was understanding she was gonna go to the academy.
If she's in the process, I will probably know this week or
Okay.
next week,
All right.
whether or not they'll be leaving us.
So. But, you know, if we're in a position where we have to have emergency funds, or we do have a car break down again, I just don't want us to be without one. And I was just concerned about the fact that we have one that's missing an engine, but we don't have that anymore. We're gonna get rid of that one, right?
We're getting rid of the white Charger.
Yeah. And so what's Cole driving today?
The other SUV that they got.
Okay,
And then, so I got a car that I drive every day. We have one SUV. The other SUV's at the shop. The white Charger's waiting for the auction to end to see who bids highest to buy it. And
okay. So, and you said we get the other one back this week then?
it should come back this week. They had all the parts today for it. It was dropped off there yesterday.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, I'm of the opinion myself, I don't know how everybody else feels, that if we have to have somebody double up, that's not that uncommon to have 2 officers in one vehicle. I mean, our patrol area is 1 mile square. And I feel like we can handle that for 1 week while we get that repaired.
Yeah, I think that's very reasonable.
Even if we have that $120,000, Matt, we need to build a $7 million sewer system. And we have to pay for engineering for that coming up this year that we weren't expecting to do. And I know you're not really privy to all of the communication back and forth from those attorneys, but we are really getting hit hard by IDEM and Hendricks County for how far we are in our
Expansion.
capacity.
Yeah.
And they are basically ready for us to build, and that just the engineering fees would consume that $120,000. So we're not in a better spot because of that $120,000, where your car is one of our major expenses that are coming up out of nowhere this year. So,
Well, and aren't both the Explorers under 100,000 miles?
yeah, it's only got
The one
like,
that's getting fixed is 70,000 miles. The one that's being drove today is just under 40,000.
So I mean, to have the water pump and the timing chain repaired doesn't mean the vehicle's not worth keeping.
This one that's getting fixed is the same one that we just put $4,000 into less than 6 months ago, because we had to have the transfer case put in.
And it's harder on vehicles.
and that's still only 1/10 the price of a new vehicle. $7,000 versus $67,000.
I get that. I get it. When you look at the vehicles, when you look at it as the money you're putting into it versus what it's worth. You put $7,000 into it, and it's worth about maybe 10, or maybe, depending on who's going to buy it, it may not even be worth 10. So we're almost putting in more money than what the car is worth. So we're gonna turn around, and it's gonna potentially be like the white Charger, and we're not gonna make anything back on it. We're gonna potentially lose money on it because we're continuing to put more money into it maintenance wise.
And I don't feel like that's any different than the decision we made a week ago. Like, we all discussed all of that a week ago, and right now this is what we need and have to do.
Yeah, and I think if we need to fund the repair, if we need to put monies into the repair budget fund, we can probably find some monies that can be moved over there. I just think at this point where we're at, it makes more sense right now to stay on the plan. And, this appears this vehicle was a lemon then, if it's had that much work done on a 2016 with under 100,000 miles. That's crazy.
Well, these cars, they idle, and they also go at high speed as well too. So that it's pretty much not just the mileage, it's also the wear and the use on it. And the other thing we're looking at also is how much more money will we keep throwing after this? If we find out something at $70,000 isn't working, I think we need to go ahead and unload it before we can end up with nothing for it, instead of getting something for it that we can put towards something. I'm just saying that I just feel like we're throwing good money after bad and keep repair. Maybe we need to unload this car.
Well, that is a different opinion than last Tuesday, and it's something we
Yeah.
can consider in the future.
I'm just saying.
But right now, I mean, I personally we have got way bigger fish to fry right now. Brian, what's your thoughts?
I mean, I agree. I see the point. I see both points, to be honest with you. Keep throwing money into something and you're gonna have more money in it than it's worth, but then I know everything else that's going on too, so. I don't know.
Yes?
Can I comment?
Yeah, absolutely.
As a prior chief, as you know, I am, as well as an Evo instructor. I find it hard to put a value on either an officer's life or a citizen's life. I just sent an email to Councilman Fowler about the night that Charger went down. I was dispatched to a violent domestic with weapons. There was just two officers, me and a county guy. And I had to disregard that run because that car broke down. How do you think I would have felt that night if that deputy would have got there? Closest person was Martinsville. That deputy got there and got shot, and I wasn't there to back him up because of the poor vehicles that we have.
Where was this call at? Like, where'd you have to go?
We get dispatched on county runs all the time. This was almost the Morgan-Hendricks County line.
Which isn't very far.
No, and it was all over a stolen vehicle out of Clay County, which we were sent out to investigate. While we were there, a domestic broke out. And the guy ended up getting arrested, obviously on the stolen vehicle and the battery or what have you. But as somebody that's been a law enforcement officer for 34 years, it's really hard for me to swallow if something would happen to that deputy.
Okay, well, my question then, if we're, you know, what made you pick that Charger that night instead of the other
That was my
vehicles?
assigned car. See, the chief assigns these cars
Mhm.
per officer to try and eliminate wear and tear on each vehicle. That way they get equal usage. That car, I mean, it was a 2012. Perfect example, it had like 45,000 miles, 46,000 miles on it. But the mileage isn't really everything. Like I said, as an Evo instructor, I know quite a bit about these cars. A lot of idle time is actually worse on these cars than the hard driving that we do on them. So, I mean, just the usage of the vehicles alone, you don't know how much wear and tear it's actually being put on these cars. And you can't compare it to a regular vehicle because it's apples and oranges. We drive speeds anywhere from 30 mile an hour to 100 mile an hour in a blink of an eye. Hitting brakes, people locking up in front of you. You have to do evasive maneuvers, you know, to get around a car. Or you've got this fatality out, you know, on the interstate. And we get called out to the interstate more than you would probably care to know.
Well, I guess what I'm saying is there were 3 vehicles. What crystal ball would we have in knowing that if we had replaced that Charger, that this Explorer wouldn't have gone out on you and the same thing? Like,
That's the thing. You
it's
don't-
automotive. I mean, none of us can tell you when something's gonna go wrong. I mean, I got a car that's only 4 years old and I've had to have it in the shop.
And that's my exact point, is the vehicles that we currently have are in a status where you don't know what they're gonna be tomorrow. And my biggest thing is, how can you put a dollar amount on an officer's life or a matter of a citizen's life that we're responding to try and save from that violent domestic or that burglar or the drive-by? Because it's not a matter of when it's gonna happen. I mean,
And
it's
then-
gonna happen.
And who knows what car you'll be in that night? You could be in the new Tahoe.
It very well could be.
And that's what, it's,
That's certainly a hypothetical that even with a brand new vehicle, something could go wrong with it. I mean, I think if we had the money to have a rotation and have new vehicles in here, we would. We have a plan to start that. I think what we have to be able to do is get through a period of time coming up where we have a lot of other very high priority issues going on. And then we can get into that pattern of where we're rotating these in and we're getting new vehicles in. Right now, I feel like we have to be good stewards of what we have and make the best of what we have to get to that point. And my position is, let's get this one fixed, which we are, and let's go forward and get to the point where we can start rotating the newer vehicles in, as we've talked about at the last meeting.
I mean, this is hypothetical. I mean, so the last council meeting, you guys were informed that you had a surplus from your grant where you're saving $120,000 that was actually earmarked for a program that is now.
I'm gonna stop you there, I'm sorry, but we had that discussion just with Matt just recently, and it had, that money with Community Crossings grant, 75-25. And the thing is we have to prove to them that we have that money to go ahead and finish up the project as well too.
Okay.
So that's not something that we can look at. Last time I talked to Ricky, and so there's that, but as far as, I mean, other funds that we have, I don't see why we can't come up with other funds, because we do have them.
You're talking an additional 23,000 for the year.
But if you sell the car,
Well, if you sell the car, it's less than that, because
Yeah.
right now you've already said you're gonna spend 23,000 for the car it's approved. It's, if I believe right, it's $46,000 a year for the two, right? Roughly.
Roughly. I
So
think that's
essentially,
right.
you're adding an additional 23,000, which gets you through the year with two cars, and then
Yeah.
your next budget, you can budget the 46,000 for the two cars. I get it, I know where you're at, I mean, like I said, I've been sitting in the place before, I just find it hard to put a dollar amount on an officer or assistant's life, and that's all I want.
yeah, and I just wanted to end this in saying that we obviously understand that. And unless it's budgeted, we cannot create the funds to do it.
Well, we actually can pull funds from others. All we have to do is pass resolutions.
Yeah, it's just a matter of reappropriation.
I mean, technically, we
Really?
can do that, but what we have to remember is where we're pulling those funds from will now be short funds. So we have to make sure we have the funds to get us through the year with those various things. Can we evaluate it? Can we look at it? Yes. Does it mean that
Vacation.
we do this? No, I don't think it means we do it, but I mean, to Phil's point, yeah, we can look at where there's monies we can move from, but remember where that money, here, robbing Peter to pay Paul,
How about?
something's gonna, you know, at some point you're gonna give.
$18,000 right now.
Where's that?
I can resign my position and you can take the salary from me and use it to buy these guys a car.
Well,
Between my 18,000 to pay and what he can get for selling the car, there's your car. I'd rather make sure that these guys are gonna be in safe vehicles and they can patrol and serve the public rather than me get paid for coming over here and working Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday.
And
And I'm willing to do that.
I really do appreciate that. That is a big stance. But another thing that you maybe didn't hear last week when we had this discussion just 7 days ago is that $46,000 you're talking about, or that 23,000 that you come up with, is this year. And then next year, we have to do $23,000 more. And then the next year, $23,000 more. And all I'm asking is that we be given some peace about this
Yeah.
until budget talks. And that's several months away.
Right, I get it. I know how budgets work. I mean.
Yeah, I mean, we're 6-8 months away from a budget, and when we can sit down and figure out where that money can come from. But Matt, what I really want to get across to you is that I want to support you 100%, but every meeting we have this discussion, and I mean, this was just 7 days ago. I realize we have a $3,000 repair and the car is down, but we are spinning our wheels. We can't do anything differently to make the problem go away. I'm not willing to do anything differently because we have got much bigger things that we're going to have to appropriate and find money for. And if we have to patrol just our area, that is what we have to do. If we have to get to that point, I don't want to do that, but this is the 1 mile square is what we have to worry about. And one car should be able to do that on one night or one period of time. You get to take your car home and that's great. Then the next day when we have somebody in that we've got to right now, this car gets back, we're gonna have 2 more vehicles until your new one gets here. You know, when your new one gets here, you'll still have 2 vehicles. It's all we can do right now. It's all that makes sense right now.
Thank you for hearing me out. I appreciate it.
Ryan, if you have any other opinion, I'm open to hearing it. You know how Philip, Carol, and I feel about it, so.
I mean, yeah, I don't know, too fresh. I know, I hear both sides, I understand both sides, but I'm a month into this, so.
Right. Oh, man, I get it. I'm 60 days in, you know, like,
Yeah, but I think the fair thing to do, I mean, I am of the opinion right now, fix it, get us to the budget time, get us to our plan. But we can evaluate our funds. But I think it's important to understand wherever we move funds from, that fund is now going to be minus those amounts. And so that's what we have to evaluate. Can we even do that? I don't know that we can. I'm willing to say, let's have that evaluation.
but I did call the Financial Solutions and he
Mhm.
did look at it.
Okay.
And just a refresher for everybody from last week, we have, if we wait until June, we'll have almost $60,000 in the CCD fund.
Mm-hmm.
And we could wait until June and buy a car, or we could go ahead and do the lease and get going on it.
Mm-hmm.
But either way, if we take all of that money out, we have no money in our capital improvement fund if
Mhm.
something else comes up. And until I am much more familiar with this budget, I'm not willing to go moving money out of accounts that I don't understand what they need to pay for.
That's fair. I mean,
And
and
I feel like
we
that's
still
where
have a
you're at.
sidewalk that's decrepit and I tripped again tonight coming in. So, I mean, that's another thing. I mean, we have some priority things and,
Yeah, we just voted on $800,000 coming out of the sewer fund for the community crossings grant on Tuesday,
not 800,000.
700 and something.
Well, that's 25% is what the state gave us, the other 75%.
It's sitting there and
But
then,
it is the money that was, to your
that's what I'm
point.
saying. What's in there is already earmarked.
Right, correct.
So what I thought we had to go towards our new sewer plant isn't actually there. It's already earmarked and now it'll be going out,
Right.
is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, I felt like we were in a pretty good spot, but we're not.
So, just a question. For the one that we are buying, once you guys have approved, where is that 11 coming from? Do we know yet?
That's coming out of the CCD fund.
So the capital improvements fund is
Yes.
potentially hitting, or will hit in June?
Yes, and then it'll hit again in December, so it's actually $22,000 coming out of there. We'll make 2 payments this year,
20, yes, it'll be 22.
almost 23.
So my question, just a question, we get to June and that money hits and we pay the first payment. And you evaluate, would you be open to at that point potentially going and entering into a second lease, which would then be 11,000? Would be an additional 11,000 this year, but the second payment on that second vehicle probably wouldn't hit until the next year. Obviously, it gives you time to evaluate if the money is there because something, either we didn't end up spend money on something or it just looked right or it worked out right. Would you guys be willing to evaluate? Obviously, that gives us time, we get closer to the budget. We might know what that money would be used for or not be used for. That way, nobody's committed to anything at this point, but reevaluating once that money hits.
So I know that the lease is a 5.5 and that's pretty good rate for what's out there. But in the course of 3 years, we're going to spend over $5,000 in that interest rate for that vehicle. And I would really just love to have some time with a financial advisor to see where we can move things so that we're not paying $5,000 extra dollars for the vehicle. And getting his help in setting up this rotation, right? Like, this isn't what you do. It's not what I do. That's what he does. And he needs to be able, and he knows now that we need to get a rotation in place. How to get that rotation in place that makes the most financial sense also. So we're not paying $5,000 extra dollars over the course of 3 years for a vehicle. So I'm not saying no to another vehicle. I'm saying if he finds it and he can do it, that's great. But I'm certainly not going to vote until this budget is
Well, I'm
looked
not
at.
asking you to vote. I'm just asking that when it hits, that, this conversation may happen again and we can reevaluate. I'm not asking anybody to vote saying, when that money hits, we will do this, because I know that's not gonna happen. I'm just saying that, don't get me wrong, and that's kind of what I think I told him when I told Ryan in the last meeting, if there's money at the end of the year, it may be in our best interest to pay off the one we bought. That way.
We're not paying the interest.
We budgeted for, and if there's money to budget for it next year, then we budget to go back into another lease next year with the plan of potentially entering into it with a little bit of money and then paying it off early as well. I get that. I'm pretty good with my own budget, not the budget here, I manage this budget, but my personal budget, I guarantee you there's not very many people out there that,
And so if we have to end up doing the sewer plant and raising the rates to what the previous council has told me that it was considered to be, and then people get their new sewer rate and we have 2 brand new police cars sitting here, is going to be pitchforks. So we need to be very careful on how we are spending our money right now, because people are going to get hit in their sewer rates if we have to do this. And I'm not trying to scare anybody that might be watching, but it's not something I want to pay. I can tell you that as a citizen. So every dollar counts right now. And it's not me being obstinate. It's me trying to figure out how not to hit people when everything is going up right now.
I get, and I understand, I mean, I know that when you guys approved this vehicle, it was because you guys didn't want to buy anybody else's used vehicles. But again, I would say that needs to probably be back on the table, because in 2016, to cross the border is what we had, and we're fortunate that we haven't had more problems. The one that we're having problems with is probably gonna keep giving us problems. And again, it's 2016, so it's police vehicle wise, it has ran its course. Quite honestly, it's ran its course regardless whether it had 40,000 miles or 140,000 miles. The difference I would say between the SUVs and the one that I drive that has 150,000 miles is the one that I drive came from the state police. And the state police, they get wrote up if they don't take their car in for meticulous maintenance. So the state police cars are maintained meticulously. That's why that car is where it's at. And I try to keep it like that because I know it's very important to keep.
So do we have some kind of maintenance thing like the state police do to help keep ours in that kind of shape?
Whenever I know that they're ready to go get done, I take them over there. And they usually hit all about the same time on oil changes. So what happens is in the morning, I take one over, I come back. By the time I get back, I take the next one over, pick the other one up, and it's just, if I know something's wrong with it, I take it over to the shop to get fixed, because I want to make sure that they are in the best running condition that we can possibly keep them in, because.
Well, I'll tell you, that is a concern that I have about the new one, just like how all that goes, because I don't know yet. But I would really like to see a written policy on how we are maintaining everything around here. But, how you're going to maintain the new one, when it's going to go in for all those things. And I don't think you can do anything to maintain a water pump, right? It's not like we could have done anything to avoid that going out. He's the most mechanical of the ones sitting here, I think.
No, and I will tell you that it was going over for an oil change, because it was due for an oil change. They found the water pump leak, then they found the timing chain issue. If it wouldn't have went over for the oil change, it potentially would have blown up that car.
Right.
So
I've had that happen to me before.
So because of the normal maintenance that we do, that we try, when they tell me that oil needs to be changed, or I check them, to see what the percentage is on the oil life, and they're usually all the other cars are all within usually about the same, because I had them pretty well divided out, so they about got the same amount of use on a regular basis. So it was usually, I take the first one, take the second one, take the third one, and they were all done at the same time, so that they were kind of on a regular maintenance schedule. And when it's over there, they check for them. They go through them to make sure that they don't see anything else that's wrong with them, and if they do, they let me know, and I look at it and I'm like, okay, this is gonna cost this much, or I talk to them and I'm like, okay, what is the price, is this gonna cause an issue if we don't fix it immediately, or can I make sure I look at the budget to make sure that I've got money in the maintenance budget, or I need to ask to move money around. Big John has been pretty good to us with that, and checking other things when it's there, just to make sure that we don't have issues.
Yeah, I know him. He is a very good guy.
What's the interval, what interval are you changing all that, 5?
It's about 3,500. So, and again, I'm just, and it's not, this is It's not this council issue, it's not a last council issue, it's just, I'm not sure that the town as a whole has ever been on a rotation program. Of course, they've never had as many officers.
They haven't been, I can assure you that. I said on those,
So,
I said,
the cars are out and driven more, things like that, so, it's just, like I said, it's something that I know you're working towards, and I appreciate that, I do, because it's, again, it's about the community, it's about the community, the officers, making sure that we're safe, they're safe, whether it's we're helping the county, or the county's helping us, making sure that we can get places safely and things like that. So again, it's not trying to bash because you won't buy a car. I just want to make sure you guys are very clear on the path we're going down with the cars we got. And again, I'm not blaming anybody for it. Again, I worked for Indianapolis, and I drove a 2003 Crown Vic when they were passing it, when it was 7, 8, 9 years old compared to other cars. So again, this is not just a Monrovia problem, but we can get ahead of it, or at least keep pace with it. I'm not sure we can get ahead of it really, unless we have a windfall of cash somewhere. So I appreciate the time and consideration. I appreciate the resolution on the new one. And
Hopefully getting the resolution signed tonight will get it here a little faster for you.
I'm hoping we can get all that sent over, and Thursday or Friday I can go before Wayne pick it up and get it over to the upfitter and have it back by the end of the month, 1st of April.
That'll be amazing.
How long would JTN have it?
When I talked to him the other day, he said that he could squeeze it in starting the 24th. If I can get it over there sooner and it's sitting in front of his face, maybe he'll squeeze it in a little bit sooner, but, it'll probably take him 5 days maybe to do the build.
we can go ahead and do this without Rick? No. He's not having to cut any checks for any expenses like taxes, this, that.
No, it's all in one lump sum.
Okay.
One lump sum payment in June. That's the first lease payment. And,
Yeah.
Mary Ann has been, knighted to sign the lease through Samantha, gave her
I think there was
the,
$350 fee or something we have to pay.
oh yeah.
That's part of I think that's rolled in.
That's rolled in.
That's
yeah.
rolled in.
That's rolled in. It's all rolled in.
No, the 350 we have to write a check for.
Oh, okay, that's, because I saw that on
But
there.
he'll be back Tuesday, right?
I don't know, when is he gonna be back?
Tuesday.
Next week? Okay.
So we have to pay the dock fee, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, everyone. All right, my little dog needs to go outside.
Let me grab the paper.